One wrong move, one catastrophic event, and humanity could be cast out into the ultimate cosmic void. What happens when our technology fails, our resources dwindle, and the only certainty is the unimaginable expanse of deep space? Prepare to confront the most extreme survival challenge ever conceived. The first stellar winters were short and full of hope. They built circular greenhouses, designed air recyclers, learned to grow wheat in regolith. They recorded messages to send home, describing how it felt to see the sun rise from behind another world. Children born far from Earth watched holograms and asked, "What was rain like?" And their parents hesitated before answering because they barely remembered. Then came the first true trial, a magnetic winter. A solar flare blinded their panels. The batteries drained faster than predicted. In the darkness of base Alpha 3, the temperature fell. Relentless, merciless. Pipes froze. Lights dimmed. Voices cracked on the radio. Food reserves, meant for mild seasons, began to dwindle. The hum of machinery, their heartbeat, faded into silence. They rationed, they wept. 3 names were whispered and written in the book of the dead. The rest survived, thanks to an idea stolen from an old Earth manual. Mix leftovers, recycle moisture from waste, burn debris for heat. It was filthy, human, desperate, but it worked. The air smelled like metal and sweat. It was survival stripped of glory. They learned fast. One engineer built a ball heater, a thermal recovery device made from rocket scraps. A radiologist repurposed compacted regolith screens to reduce radiation exposure. A botanist discovered that a certain mold could purify air filters twice as long as expected. The colony lived on, but at what cost? They had seen what space did to hope. The fall of Alpha 3 forced a change, no more dependence on one point. They became mobile. Outposts sprouted like mushrooms along the asteroid belt, turning stone into water, ice into air. They raided the frozen giants, drilling, fracturing, hauling. These runs were perilous. Debris, collisions, theft. But they worked. They built convoys of mining ships, bound by fragile alliances and shared fear. To continue the story, you must like the video, or the colony might fall. With wealth came jealousy and fear. Some factions tried to control the water points. Laws written in haste were tested. A captain seized a shipment to save his weakening base. Another community called him a thief. Skirmishes broke out, not with guns, but just as deadly. Sabotaged recyclers, silent betrayals, the opening of an airlock at the wrong time. The pioneers learned that human nature had followed them beyond the ozone. They lost leaders, they buried promises, but every mistake became a living manual. How to ration water, isolate a failed module, treat radiation sickness. They learned resilience through pain. They stopped hoping for rescue and started planning for generations. Then came the event they would call the Great Silence. A wave of charged cosmic dust swept through the belt, silent, invisible, unstoppable. A few scientists had predicted it, but no one expected the scale. In a single night, communications fell. Radios turned to static, satellites blinked out like dying stars. For the first time in a century of expansion, the colonies were alone. If you are still here, don't forget to subscribe. It helps a lot the channel. Without the network, trade routes vanished. No one knew who was alive or dead. A captain fired flares into the void, hoping someone would see. On one station, they counted the days since the last transmission. On another, they celebrated birthdays in silence, pretending help was still coming. Despair crept faster than radiation. Some outposts shut down entirely to conserve oxygen. Others went mad, chasing phantom signals. It lasted 87 days, 87 endless nights of fear and whispering engines. And then, without warning, the noise cleared. A single message reached them. We're still here. It was enough. The spark returned. They would rebuild, reconnect, try again. The plan saved them, but at a price. An entire expedition sacrificed itself to repair the broken satellites. 40 went out, 20 came back. The rest vanished on an asteroid's flank, swallowed by debris. They wept again, but they had bought time. Time to grow, to remember why they had left. It was a turning point. The colonies stopped seeing themselves as isolated islands and began weaving a network. Trade routes expanded, Energy sharing protocols emerged. Shared oxygen banks were established. Ingenuity became their true resource. They built median radiation shields, graffiti-coated power grids, schools where children learned how to grow life inside stone. Some dreamed of returning to Earth, others called it superstition. The early years gave way to decades of mastery, shell cities, farming rings, asteroid highways. Humanity endured, but memory endured too, of those who froze, starved, and never came back. On certain walls, names remained etched. In songs, the famines were still sung. And in the shadows, some communities rejected the central order, ready to steal, ready to fight for autonomy. The balance stayed fragile, so how long could humanity survive in space? The answer isn't just technical, it's political, social, moral. We could last a century, maybe two, if we learn to share and to imagine. Or we could die in a single winter if we refuse to admit our flaws. Survival isn't guaranteed by technology. It's earned every day by compassion, by trust, by remembering what home means.